yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. UFC in the Apex. Whoa, not at the Apex. What?
They're not at the Apex. What is this Columbus stuff?
What?
That's right. The UFC is back in Columbus, OHIO. UFC Columbus going down in a little under a half an hour from right now. This is the People's Pre-Fight Show for UFC Columbus, getting you ready for an afternoon and early evening of punches to the face. I am Mike Heck. We got Jed Meshew here, the former BTL champion, Mr. Hot Take, Mr. No Gray Area himself. And on the ones and twos, undefeated, undisputed, Casey Leiden.
Mr. 3024.
3024.
Right.
Mr. 3024. There you go. So, I mean, this music's very happy. We're all festive in a good mood, but we do have some breaking news right off the bat. Some breaking news. And there's the breaking news music. Per the UFC Europe Twitter account, due to a non-COVID related illness, Ilir Latifi has been removed from his heavyweight bout with Alexei Oleinik at UFC Columbus tonight. That fight will no longer be happening unless they want to make the main event a triple threat match and add Alexei Oleinik to that. But one main card fight is off the slate. Ilir Latifi is out, and poor Jose Youngs. We just talked about this on the preview show yesterday. Jose has been sitting on a Alexei Oleinik 60 wins graphic that he has made for, I think, 2 years now. And once again, that is going to be put on the shelf. So that heavyweight fight is off the card. And Jed made such an inspiring speech about that fight on the preview show, and now it is no more. So, Jed, your thoughts on this news? It could have been any fight, but they picked this fight. This fight had to happen. Ilir Latifi is out of this fight.
I know. It's, I mean, what can you say? Except for, I think we should just run the 60 wins thing. Like, we're working on it for a while. As Connor once famously told us, you know, if you pull out, that means you lose. So I think Alexei Oleinik is the winner, is the rightful winner, 60 wins, and we're fine. And then we don't have to actually watch him fight again, which means we all win.
I mean, do you agree with that, Casey? Do you feel like we all win, or
Oh.
just rebook this thing, right?
I think it's just a conspiracy theory, and the UFC wants Oleinik to get 60 wins when he actually turns 60, which should probably be in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, it's a good point. They'll just rebook him. Something will happen. It's that time. It's that kind of thing, and
man,
it's unfortunate. So
that's why we need like the king of the
okay.
cages and things like. You just grab someone in the audience, and go. You get the fight, and just have Oleinik have like 60 wins. Get like 65 wins tonight. Just keep getting fans from Columbus to fight him in between fights. That's all.
You could find somebody for him.
Yeah, think outside the box, UFC. Think outside the box.
Maybe Matt Brown has a heavyweight down the street.
Better question though. What do we think is going to move into the main card spot?
Oh yeah,
probably nothing.
I think they'll just go one main card fight less. That feels like
just go 5 main card fights, unless they're about to. I mean, this just came out less than 30 minutes before the fight card, so I can't imagine they're going to delay the start time. Maybe they will.
I was going to say, maybe they delay it. We're just on here for a lot longer than we bargained for.
Yeah. I feel like John Anik and company are going to be wasting some time early on talking about a lot of different things.
Also, just how does this happen this late? Like, surely somebody knew before a half hour before the card starts. Like, yeah, he's not going to make it. He's sick. And obviously they couldn't make a late replacement. So, like, why are we probably knew this earlier. It's just now coming out. And from the UFC Europe Twitter account, which is, like, weird.
It's always the random Twitter accounts. It's not like the official one. It's always like UFC China, really, So it was always like something weird, but I don't know.
Yeah, like, why does the UFC Europe team know before the regular UFC team does?
I don't know. Some top-notch journalists over on the UFC Europe side, but
yes.
So that is unfortunate, but we still have fights about to kick off. We'll do this until the first fight is about to begin. So when both fighters are in the octagon, the introductions are being done, then we'll go off the air. But this is the People's Pre-Fight Show. This is your show, your thoughts, your questions. We're going to answer them as many as we can in this amount of time. So
All
let's
right,
get to it. What are the peeps saying?
All right, this is a tough one, but here we go.
Why is Blaydes such a boring fighter? Hey, he wins a lot, so
Is he a boring fighter? Is he a boring fighter?
Yeah.
Even when he wins,
Yeah.
he's boring somehow.
Not all the time.
It's very strange because his fights are not boring, but he is a boring fighter. He's really threading a narrow window there. But like he often does fun things, like he clobbered JDS and Shamil Abdurakhimov. Like that was fun to watch, but it was only fun, and like the highlight clip is fun. Literally the only parts of his fights that are fun are the finishes, and every other aspect of it is not that interesting. And it also happens that there tends to be a lot of the other parts of it as well. Where like he'll get a finish in the third round, so you had 12 minutes of watching him just be good at wrestling, which isn't that exciting.
Yeah, I felt like I really feel the whole boring kind of tag that gets to him is because I don't know, like maybe the UFC just hasn't. We just don't know Curtis Blaydes' story or something. Because I think of boring fighters, I always think of like Randy Couture fights. If you take away the story of Randy Couture, for the most part, his fights are incredibly boring. But when you put the story into it, it's exciting. And maybe that's what Blaydes is missing. He just doesn't have that story or something. But I guess that's the problem with this fight because there's, like we said yesterday, it's just a holding pattern type fight. It doesn't really mean much. So there's no
I mean, I know he doesn't care about it, but like he's not the most engaging personality, and so there's not a lot to hang your hat on. And he also has had a very weird career, and he's the only guy at heavyweight who like actually tackles and grapples people.
Yeah.
So it's just a very, very strange spot.
Yeah, and I think that's why maybe people consider him boring is because he's in this division. Like if he was in any other division, I don't know if he would get that reputation because, Colby goes out there and just dominates dudes, but he doesn't really finish a lot of guys. Curtis Blaydes, has very similar tactics in winning fights, but he puts guys away. And when he does, it's pretty vicious. That Overeem finish was nasty. That was a brutal, brutal TKO. So, I mean, I think the division kind of hurts him, especially when you're looking up and down at some of these like ferocious, like when you're watching Tai Tuivasa and Derek Lewis and Francis Ngannou just absolutely destroy people. You bring in Curtis Blaydes and, he does what guys do in other divisions, and they don't really get this moniker like attached to them as much as Curtis Blaydes does in this division. So I think the division hurts him more than anything.
One big thing too, like I was thinking about this actually last night. I think the UFC made tell me what you think. I think it made a big mistake by going safe and putting this as the main event. I think this fight card was an opportunity to take a chance on like the actual Kai Kara France and Askarov being the main event. Just take a chance on that. Like I still think they went so safe by just throwing heavyweights at the top of the card. I don't know. What do you think? Was this like the card that there was an opportunity to kind of like, you know what? Let's throw a contenders flyweight fight on the top of the card rather than just because that's their goat. That's their default all the time, pretty much, right?
Yeah, I hadn't thought about it that way. I think
because if this was the co-main event, or would there be that same kind of conversation?
No, I think you're right in that this being potentially 25 minutes has a lot of people being like, "Oh, this might be awful." Dope. I hadn't thought about it like because it made sense, even if I thought it wasn't like great. Like it makes sense to have the heavyweights just sort of as their default, but like at the same time, this is going up against like other sporting stuff. I guess March Madness is the women's tournament's today, so. They could have put anything in the main event here, and I don't think it would substantially change the interest this card's driving. So, yeah, maybe they should have been a little riskier and just seeing see if something could happen.
Yeah. You could have just thrown. I mean, what's the difference of just throwing? You could just throw Matt Brown in the freaking main event. I mean, he's the hometown guy. If you want a big moment to leave the crowd home happy or maybe sad, if you want to evoke as much emotion as possible, you probably should just put Matt Brown in the main event.
I think that
but I understand they're at a tough spot.
From a star standpoint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, I
Tough
kind of
spot,
like
'cause they had a main
do the
event.
Askarov Kai Kara France would have been at least fun. Like, ostensibly they're fighting for a title fight,
Yeah,
even if
that's
I
what I
don't
mean.
think
Because
they actually
there's
are.
so much more at stake in that fight. I mean, that we know
I
is at
just
stake. You know.
also just I would rather see that fight for 5 rounds and like do that from a competitive standpoint and like I don't know, maybe Kai Kara France bolts him and then becomes a star. Like there's an outside chance that happens, unlikely, but like you never know.
But that's a chance you gotta take as a promoter, I would think. You
Better,
know.
yeah. There's 0% chance that Curtis Blaydes going to come out of this a star. So like, even if it's 1% that maybe
Yeah.
KKF does something dope, like maybe you should roll the die because I hadn't thought about it that way. It would have been very low risk to go with any other fight on this card as a main
Yeah.
event just to see what happens.
I feel like if Curtis Blaydes has like a big finish in like 45 seconds, I feel he won't become a star. It's more of like a relief because like woo, we thought we had to go 24 minutes of a grind. You know, I just think like it's one of those type of finishes. Like woo. All right.
Or maybe Chris Daukaus, or maybe Blaydes goes in there thinking, oh, everyone thinks he's a better striker and has more power. Watch this. And then he might get knocked out by Chris Daukaus. And then we got a whole different thing
maybe
to
it's
talk
just
about.
yeah. Chris Dawkins could become a star tonight. I don't see Blaydes kind of.
The problem is Chris Dawkins just got knocked out.
That's
Like if he hadn't, then it would make sense that you're rolling the dice that Dawkins is maybe a new big thing at heavyweight. But like even if he comes out here and starches Curtis Blaydes, great. He also just got knocked out. It's just tough scenes.
I've seen. All right.
Can you guys talk more about Max Griffin's fight? I think he cracks harder than Magny and has a good chance of the upset finish coming off of 3 wins. So yes, Max Griffin has got himself a little resurgence in this welterweight division. I believe he has become a dad, and that's kind of changed things for him. He was on a tough stretch. He lost 4 out of 5, lost to Millender, Thiago Alves, Alex Moreno, Cowboy Oliveira. But since then, Ramiz Brahimaj finished him. That was when Brahimaj's ear almost fell off, and then Song Kenan just knocked him out in the first round, and then beats Carlos Condit. So he's on a good streak right now. He's one of these guys that's getting really overlooked on this card because he's fighting another Tim Duncan-esque fighter in Neil Magny, who's just really good at what he does and does it very effectively. So do you feel like, Jed, I mean, you can make an argument for anything. We know you, but can you make the arguments that Max Griffin can go out here and pull off the upset?
I mean, you can make the argument. I don't think it's going to happen. Neil Magny is like the exact perfect fighter for what he does. He is the gatekeeper to the stars. Like if you can beat Neil Magny, you are one of the 10 best welterweights in the world. If you cannot, you are not. And I do not think Max Griffin is one of those. Like it's just he can win. Like he is a more powerful striker. And actually I think he works at a slightly higher rate than Magny does, but he's not the grappler Magny is. I don't think he has the same cardio, even though I don't think Max Griffin has bad cardio. Magny's going to outwork him over the long haul. He's going to be able to grapple. He's sneaky effective in the clinch. He's much longer. Like I think it's a tough fight for Max Griffin, and water finds its level. So here we go.
Yeah, it's a good answer. I mean, since February of 2014, Neil Magny won 7 in a row, then lost to Damian Maia, won 3 in a row, got bolted by Lorenz Larkin in kind of a short notice fight. Larkin was heading into free agency. That was a big spot for him. Beats Hendricks, loses to RDA, wins 2, loses to Ponzinibbio, wins 3, loses to Chiesa, and then beats Jeff Neal. So yeah, Jed, not really much I can add to what Jed said.
Yeah. And it's just like the other thing is like the way that people have historically been effective against Magny is he's mostly struggled with people who can out grapple him. I mean, Lorenz Larkin was a good fight, but like mostly it's being able to take him down or work him over on the ground. Not that he's an incredible striker, like that's just the cleanest avenue to victory, and it's not what Max Griffin's going to do. Like, Neil Magny's fought a lot of people who hit really hard and are better strikers than Max Griffin.
I like watching Neil Magny fight, so I'm kind of bummed that this is just a fight. Like unless it's a spectacular finish, there's not going to be very much conversation about this fight after the card. I feel like it's just so low in the card, and there's
Neil's
no
Neil's not a big finisher either. So
that's the thing. Yeah. Would you
Neil, like his teammate Curtis Blaydes, just really good at fighting, and that's it.
All right.
What else we got?
Here we go. Let's talk about flyweights.
Menon or Grasso get a finish. Do they get the jump? Do they get to jump the line for a title shot? So we got Manon Fiorot, big opportunity against Jennifer Maia. Of course, Fiorot was supposed to fight Jessica I got injured, so we bump Fiorot back a few weeks. Now she gets a step up in competition, a big one, against Jennifer Maia, who recently fought for the title, and Alexa Grasso gets the co-main event spot against Joanne Wood, who is looking to just get out of this little schneid that she has found herself in. So, Casey, do you feel like any of these women, regardless of performance, if they go out there, get a finish, do it impressively, it's just one-way traffic, big finish, they could see themselves in a title fight next?
I could see either of them be getting to that number one more fight away. I don't think what happens tonight, they're getting a title shot, but I think if either of them win big, like a first-round finish, I definitely could see them being that number one contender fight coming up. I really doubt. Yeah, I just don't see it any other way, honestly. Maybe Fiorot, maybe Menon Fiorot, because is Magny coming off a win or a loss?
She lost to Chikage in her last fight.
Yeah. They would both. It's a big night for the women's flyweight division. If Grasso or Menon.
For the flyweight divisions in general.
Yeah, flyweight. This question's confused me because it's a first name and then a last name. So I keep they chose to go.
It is.
Yeah, I got confused. I was like, is her last name Menon? No, they both need to win. But I'm really actually shocked that Fiorot isn't the co-main event, honestly, because I think Maia has I guess, she's a little bit. I consider Maia a better fighter than Joanne Calderwood. But I'm just kind of surprised they chose Grasso in the co-main event over Fiorot. You think so, or is that?
I think you're right.
Yeah,
it
seems very random.
My guess is the reason they did it is because in their rankings, Calderwood's like 6 or 7, and Grasso's also top 10, whereas Maia and Fiorot is. I think Maia's like 4 or 5, and Fiorot is just at the edge of the 15. So it's a closer number matchup. But yeah, totally should be. That should be the co-main event over Wood Grasso. Because I'll go ahead and answer. If Grasso knocks out Joanne Wood, she's not getting a title fight. She will still need to get a win. If Fiorot comes out and stunts on Maia, she could. I think she won't, just because we already know that Talia Santos is up next. But like, if something happens to Santos, Fiorot could easily be thrown in there. If she chose to wait it out, like, she would, in my mind, be the next in line. But the most likely outcome here is the winner of these two fights each other for a flyweight title shot after Talia Santos.
I will say no, but not because they wouldn't deserve it. The way I see this year playing out is I see Juliana Pena beating Amanda Nunes again, and then Shevchenko beats Talia Santos, and then they do Shevchenko versus Pena 2 for the 35 title at some point this year. Or Shevchenko Nunes 3. Either way. I think.
No, you had it right, because they do Shevchenko Pena 2. Chevy Truck gets that second belt, and then they say, all right, Nunes still has the 145. Triple champ time. Let's go bullet train, baby.
Yeah, so I think and the problem is, like, Alexa Grasso is a great fighter, not a big time personality, honestly. Like, the English isn't quite there. Fiorot as well, but I think Fiorot just kind of has that like Terminator look to her, where it's
very
believable.
Impressive.
You can market that 100%. So
impressive woman.
But Valentina needs opponents. So it just depends on what happens. It all depends on Valentina. Like, if Valentina goes out there and beats Talia Santos and then gets on the mic and says, I want to fight Alexa Grasso or Manon Fiorot, then they'll do that, because there's just nobody else right now.
I've been campaigning for this for a long time. you do UFC 278, Valentina Shevchenko, Queen of the Hill, and you just roll out 5 contenders one after the other for each of the 5 main card bouts, and she just whoops them one after the other. Because by the end of it, when it's that 5th fight, I'll be interested to see if Valentina Shevchenko, who's already fought 4 times, can still put the wood to Lauren Murphy. I would guess that she can, but I don't know. Odds are getting a lot more even the more she has to fight.
Wait, Valentina doesn't have a matchup, right?
Yes, she does.
When? Oh, that is. I forgot.
June 11th.
And that kind of was thrown out there. I think I saw it for like 10 seconds. I went, okay, cool. And then I never thought about it again. Like I haven't even seen anyone talk about it. I think I saw it kind of, people, there was chatter for about 4 minutes on it, and then people just kind of moved on. Yeah.
Yeah. That's just the problem with Shevchenko's in the DJ
You're so
zone,
dominant. Yeah.
where she's just so dominant, and then you're kind of having to rush contenders to her because it's new and interesting, and so she's just gonna whoop them forever, and so it's okay, yeah, cool. Talia Santos, that's another scalp.
Yeah. So I was trying to see from the UFC's point of view. It's like, oh, I get it, because they're hoping Grasso wins, and then they'll set up Grasso Shevchenko as the co-main event for the quadrilogy or whatever you want to call that. What's the word we're going for?
Tetralogy, right?
Tetralogy should be the word. I'm pretty sure. Tetralogy, yeah.
I don't like that word. I should make up a new one.
Do quadrilogy.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like 4. Tet doesn't sound like 4. I want to talk to someone at Webster's.
Yes, do it. Threaten to 30-24 them if they don't listen.
All right.
Mannon's approach to that fight is super interesting. Will she go out there and just try to destroy Jennifer Maia, or will she just take the Caitlin Chukagian route just to get a win and just take her down for 3 times and win?
No one's destroyed Maia like that.
She's not going to take her down.
She got takedowns in her last fight.
Yeah, but Jennifer Maia is really hittable. Manon Fiorot's just going to club her upside the head.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see.
Yeah. I think outside, I think Maia's only finish was like that kind of cheap shot finish that Sheila Gaff got like a long time ago. But that's what, if Manon can finish Maia under a round, that'd be super impressive. Because I'm still not on the Manon hype train yet. I just think she's a really good prospect. But tonight's the night, at least. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm not. I think she's a solid prospect. She's also in her mid-30s though, so prospect is even a loose term in those contexts.
Oh, she is? Okay, I didn't even know that, actually.
Yeah, it's just sort of, she came from a kickboxing background, I'm pretty sure. So she came in a little late.
Okay, so she has lots of combat sports experience, not MMA.
Yeah, I think so. I won't pretend to be the biggest.
Okay, I'll listen what the Anna has to say as she walks out.
Did y'all watch Rod Tank versus DJ this morning? Would y'all think boring? I mean, I watched the highlights of it. I will admit I did not stay up and watch it. Did anybody watch the fight in its entirety?
I didn't
think it was boring.
I watched that fight. Nothing else on the card.
I didn't hear anyone say it was boring at all. I heard
it wasn't boring. I mean, it kind of is boring. It wasn't. The Muay Thai round was dope. DJ actually he lost, but he did pretty well.
Yeah,
it's just that sort of thing has very little interest to me because okay, cool. Obviously, if DJ doesn't die in the first round, he's going to win very easily in the second. That's exactly what happened. So it's all right, we don't need these mixed rules bouts. There's no point in them. Just fight one of the disciplines.
I think everyone's trying to relive that magic of Shinya Aoki versus the cosplay kickboxer.
Look, that was one of the greatest things that's ever happened in sports.
Yeah.
But if you put DJ in, DJ's not going to be
a ranked
asshole like Aoki. He's just going to actually be a professional and fight, and it's not going to be funny. And also, he's not going to get randomly clobbered because it's Shinya Aoki.
In the MMA round, too.
He's made a career out of doing that in the biggest, worst times.
All right.
Also, apparently, I have not seen it, but he apparently got clobbered by Sexyama.
I saw the finish of that. Ooh.
Did you?
46-year-old Sexyama. goals.
Sexy Emma is still looking sexy, might I just add. It's a well-built
The
man.
Silver Fox. The Silver Fox. Salt and pepper. Just crushing the salt and pepper game.
First team getting off the bus.
All right.
So looks like 4:10 will be when the fighters start to make the walk. So we got a little bit of time here.
4:10.
Thoughts on Nicolau versus Vorak? Two awesome flyweight fights in this card. This fight's tremendous, but getting no buzz whatsoever. It is a very good fight. Wax poetic, Jed. Tejas Nicolau, David Dvorak. Tremendous fight. I
think it's the best fight on the card. The only reason I didn't pick this as my low-key banger was because Latifi Oleinik. I have a reputation to uphold, and that fight really fits in the wheelhouse of things that I find amusing. But from just a pure fist fight standpoint, Vorak Nicolau is one of the best fights this weekend, including the one stuff that happened. Like it's awesome. Nicolau is just a super weird fighter to me. Because he's like, I don't think he is slow, but he's kind of slow. He's like the only flyweight that's a flat-footed fighter that like he has a set stance and everybody else kind of moves a lot and he is less, but he makes it work. Really good counters. Dvorak I think he's longer, certainly seems longer. I think it's just a really good fight. Like I'm interested to see how this will go because I think Dvorak is probably he's the more active striker, but I think Nicolau has really good counters and he can sit down and crack Vorak with it and see how that'll change the dynamics. I just think it's a really, really good fight.
Yeah, for a card that doesn't really have a true a really good main event, the second fight of the night might be on. Yeah, you're right. It might be the best fight of the night.
I think it is the most competitive matchup of the evening, whether it's the best or not.
Well, I guess
tastes may vary, but I think it's the most competitive high-level mixed martial arts fight this weekend.
Love it.
Yeah,
great
fight. Like it actually. Yeah. There's actually so many interesting matchups on this card. I kind of really haven't even
really well made card.
Tremendous, really good.
It is
really good. It's just it's the victim of terrible timing.
Card. If it still had the Blachowicz Rakic fight, it would be a B+ or an A- card. It just doesn't have the thing to put it over the top to make me say, you guys should tune in. This is a really good fight card.
Yeah, and the timing kind of stinks too because you're coming off of UFC London and you're 2 weeks away from 273. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, to be honest,
great fight.
Like I didn't see Dana, out in Columbus doing the media tours.
He's not there. He's not there at all.
He didn't even go. Like it's not even there. Yeah. So, like it'd be. Yeah. I mean, he doesn't.
And it's being overshadowed by St. Peter's going to win the NCAA tournament. I said this yesterday on the pre-fight show, and then they went out and did the damn thing. All in on the Peacocks, baby. If St. Peter's runs through this tournament and beats Kentucky, and then they beat UNC, and then they beat Duke in the Final Four, and Kansas to win the damn thing, it's the greatest thing that's ever happened in sports. It's all I'm rooting for right now. Peacocks forever.
All right. It's people asking, can you catch up, people? What do we know about this?
So UFC Europe said it was a non-COVID related illness. So not sure what happened. Maybe he was getting ready to leave the hotel to head to the arena and something happened. Maybe he got some food poisoning, tried to kick it and just couldn't. I mean, things like that happen. It's not the first time, probably won't be the last, but I would say it's probably something to that effect.
Food poisoning in Columbus does kind of track. Like, I could see that because it's not like he's cutting weight; he's a heavyweight. So I could see.
It's a weird. All right.
He's Swedish, not used to all the tasty eats that Columbus offers.
Is this true? I didn't see this.
Yes, it is. If you go to MMAfighting.com, we confirmed it via multiple sources. Alex Bejeda versus Sean Strickland. UFC
going
77. No.
Wait.
Pereira's an 85er.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of
not Michelle.
I'm thinking of the flippy guy. Sorry, I'm thinking of flippy.
Kickboxer, not circus fighter.
Yeah,
Bejeda's fighting. Michelle Bejeda, I believe, is fighting He's fighting Ponzinibbio.
Yeah, that's what I
Yeah,
thought. So that's why. Sorry, in my whole time I was thinking Michelle
matchmaking.
Pereira. So I was kind of confused. Like
Yeah.
what? All right.
But
Michelle
Alex
Pereira,
Fajeda.
Santiago Ponzinibbio.
Wow.
That's a fight. That is a fight.
Man.
Yes, great fight. Meritocracy, from a meritocracy perspective, makes absolutely no sense at all. But from a what the UFC is trying to build towards perspective, this is not surprising at all. This was the fight to make. Yeah, this was the fight to make.
Title fight. This is the best one they could set up for him.
Absolutely.
Either Sean Strickland fights for the title or Alex Fajeda fights for the title. So this is in essence a number one contenders fight, and just kind of the weirdest way from a meritocratic way of thinking. But in the UFC, let's make some damn money and tell some stories business. This is the right fight to make, because it's a win-win either way. Either Sean Strickland gets in there and that fight week will just be insane, or Alex Fajeda gets in there and we'll watch all the kickboxing footage and we'll hear that story 5,000 times.
I hate this fight, but I completely 100% agree with why the UFC made this fight. Is that from a promotional standpoint, it makes so much sense, because you're not throwing like a Pereira versus Vittori or something in there.
Vittori run him over.
Yeah. So this is a perfect fight for both these guys, and both these gentlemen, whoever wins, will have probably most likely be fighting Izzy, with ever having to face kind of a true wrestler, to kind of stunt their, kind of give him a loss. So they're gonna. This is great. This is really smart by the UFC. Really smart.
Strickland title contender is gonna be tough. It's gonna be a tough out.
Wow.
I mean,
is that a pay-per-view? Is that a fight night headliner? Or do you know what is that?
Yeah, it's 277.
July 30th. That's 277.
That's 277. They're doing 2 pay-per-views in July. There's the International Fight Week card, and then they're gonna do another one on July 30th. So it's either, from what I was told, location-wise, there's no location announced yet. I'm told it's between Dallas. 2. It's between Anaheim and Dallas, but nothing official yet.
Are there any other fights on that card?
Am
I forgetting something?
I mean, I have no knowledge of this whatsoever, and I'm just speaking hypothetically. But this strikes me as we're about to see Adesanya Cannonier headline this card. But I have no insight to this whatsoever.
I can see that.
But this fight being booked, and then you put Adesanya and Cannonier on this card, I mean, it makes all the sense in the world, right? I mean, it seems like the direction they're going.
And then you Nancy Kerrigan, Jared Cannonier like 2 weeks before, and you just put Bahia in the title fight. Tony slipped on a pipe backstage, and now he's out. I guess Bahia's in a title fight now. Okay.
Oh, wait a minute. We have a main card update. Neil Magny, Max Griffin is the second main card fight now.
So what's the prelim main is just going to go to McMahon, Carol Rosa?
Carol Hosa. Yeah, man.
Hosa. Cool.
I guess, yeah. That's fun. It's fun fight.
That's a good fight.
You have 2 top 10 ranked flyweights on the prelims, and they are just burying them. Like it's the disrespect they have for that division is unreal.
I mean, Rosa, she hasn't fought the best competition yet, but is she undefeated? She's undefeated in the UFC. Yeah, so give the bantamweight some love. But but it should be a flyweight night. There should be a flyweight.
She's good, man.
They have 4 of the top 10 flyweights in the world competing in this card, and none of them are in premium positions. It is astonishing to me how much they hate that division.
I don't get it.
Like, it's a fun division. It's never going to be a pay-per-view headlining division. That's okay. You don't have to be mad at all flyweights because the general public is not that interested. It feels like they're still mad at Demetrius Johnson, honestly, and so they just refuse to let this division be happy.
So I think I think we'll see this fight again. No insight. I think we'll see the Adesanya Cannonier fight, and then the co-main event will probably be Figgy Smalls Moreno 4, especially if it's in Anaheim.
If it's in Anaheim, that's awesome. That's real fun.
But also in Dallas, like if you did it in Dallas, like Moreno would be big in Dallas too.
Yeah.
So
Moreno would be very big in Dallas. Then we can do 5 in the other one.
Get you 5 in Anaheim. There you go.
They're definitely going to have a 5th fight. I am at this point hoping that they just fight each other twice a year for the next 4 years.
Fight forever. Just fight forever.
They have the first series, like 7 series in UFC history.
We're going to have to think of all these names, trilogy, tetralogy, and then we're just going to have to look all these up and go from there.
Is it Pint? Pintology?
Speaking of that.
Axel Adams, if the UFC makes the 4th Moreno Figgy matchup and Moreno wins this time, will they make a 5th rematch or give the winner of Askar Kai the title?
I think it depends how it goes.
I'm with you, Jed. I think if Askarov wins, I think there's a better chance we'd see a 5th fight. I think if Kai Kara France wins, I think Kai will get the shot. But they will go back to it. We will see them fight for a 5th time. If Moreno wins, we will see them fight for a 5th time.
Do we agree they should have done the 4th fight?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So we're in agreement on that.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all I'm checking on. That was the fight to make.
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine with 4. I have no issue with them doing 4 and 5 because 5's coming. But I think you could make the argument that they should have just given Askarov the fight first and held Moreno for the winner of that fight. Because Moreno still has a story with either the outcome of that, like of a Figueiredo Askarov fight. So I think you could make the argument to be like, all right, Moreno, you lost. Step back, wait for 6 months. You get the next up. We want to roll this guy in, but I'm fine with them running 4.
Yeah. And I guarantee you, if they have a similar fight the 4th time around and Moreno wins the decision this time around, BTL, we're going to be having a discussion whether or not they should go number 5. Yeah. Like that'll be the post-fight show big topic. Should they do part 5?
Yeah. To me, that's actually the big argument for why you wouldn't have done 4 is because there's just a very real outcome where 5 is the obvious next fight. And so maybe try and slide Askarov in there and then do 4 later, but 6 one, half dozen of the other.
Yeah.
If Askar continues to win the way he wins, would that be horrible for the men's flyweight division?
Sure.
As far
it's not like he's going out there just laying on dudes for 15 minutes. But
he barely is winning a lot. He's in very competitive fights, which is interesting.
Well, the Moreno fight he lost. The Benavidez fight was
super close.
Was great. No, it was. I didn't think so. I thought Askarov 30-27.
He won that fight handily, but Benavidez is also washed.
Okay. So, that was his last fight. That was Benavidez's retirement fight.
Well, that was Benavidez being washed.
Yeah, that was Benavidez. All right, I'm over this shit.
Elliott fight he won convincingly. Elliott fight won convincingly. Pantoja was a little more competitive, but yeah, I think the thing that really killed him for the Benavidez fight was the weight miss, and I think that cost him a title shot. Honestly,
okay.
I thought it cost
forgot
him a
he missed
shot.
weight, and that made sense. If he had won the title, if he had not missed weight, they probably actually would have held Moreno, and now that makes sense to me.
So I think Askarov's going to have to work.
It's awesome. We're going to get 7 fights between the 2 best guys in the division, and I'm going to watch all of them.
Yeah, that's the problem. I've been kind of preaching that for a long time. Like guys at the highest level, like I don't mind 3 out of 5, 2 out of 3. Yeah. I mean, I know we're kind of stretching it now, but I don't
mind it at all.
Yeah, if they're good fights, they're good fights, man. Yeah, it's just and there's no true number 1 guy. I feel so. Yeah.
Yeah, if one guy wins 4 out of 5, then sure we don't need to run it back again. But like, they keep swapping them. Their tactics have changed. All of the fights have been different. It's not just the same fight over and over, too. It's awesome.
Yes,
it's the story between, like, people talk about a 30 for 30 for the Conor Diaz rivalry. A great 30 for 30 would be this rivalry too, because like you said, everything has changed from fight 1 to fight 2. From fight 2 to fight 3, Figgy Smalls leaves the comfort of home, goes to Cejudo's gym. There you go, right? And now Moreno has left his longtime gym to go train with James Krause and other teams. So he's making a change as well. So I mean, just the stories within the stories here, very fascinating. Very fascinating. We still get some time. We're a commercial break right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if we want to do our little predictions or
picks. We gotta do our predictions.
I was going to say fights aren't going to start for 20 minutes probably.
Oh, so I got 20 minutes. Okay.
I think the fighters are about to make a walk.
Oh, are they? Actually, okay.
Yeah. All right. First fight, we got Mark Casey, the plus 120 dog, we're going main card here versus Vlashev, Borshev, minus 140 favorite. Jed Meshew, your pick.
Evjakazi by decision in what should be a pretty fun main card opener.
Casey.
I still believe in Chikaze, so I'm going Chikaze by second round knockout. Still not a hype train.
This is one of the tougher fights of the card, but I'm with Casey as well. I go with the experience here. He's been in 3-round grueling fights, and I don't know Borshev. If this fight's going to end early, it's going to be because Borshev knocks him stiff. But
yeah,
Casey's pretty durable and has been known to come through these wars.
He's a plus 120 underdog.
Yep, it's a good pick. Neil Magny, Max Griffin. Anybody picking the upset here?
No, sir. Neil Magny by decision. The only way Neil Magny fights.
Magny by decision. And a good
the fight we've been talking about. By the way, as of right now, per DraftKings, Neil Magny a minus 280 favorite, plus 225 for Max Griffin. The big one, the people's main event, we got Askarov, minus 450 favorite against Kaikar France, plus 340 dog. Casey, who you got?
Going for the upset. KKF by decision.
Also going upset.
Wow, that
KKF.
Is very much the upset.
That would be massive. I wonder what the odds are for that. But I'm picking KKF, third round, TKO. I think he will lose this fight until he wins it. It's going to be one of those kinds of fights. But it's going to be a hard one. I think Askarov's going to have to work a lot harder than many feel that he will. And if Kaikar France can make that happen and create some chaos in this fight, I think he's got a really good chance to win. And I think he might be down 2 rounds heading into the third, and I think the chaos will cash in. So, Jed.
I am going to take the chalk. Askarov. The question for me is whether he's going to get hit. Can he withstand taking a couple of shots? Because I think he also can get takedowns. I'm going to say that he can withstand the temperature and get the takedowns, and he's a very good top position. He's good at holding position, so he only needs 2 to 3 takedowns. So I'm going with the chalk.
All right, pure pick'em according to DraftKings. Featured bout welterweight division: Matt Brown, Brian Barberena, minus 110s apiece. Jed Meshew.
Brian Barberena, man. Matt Brown's at home, so maybe that's the difference. I'm shocked that this is as close a betting line as it is. Matt Brown, like 5 years ago, Matt Brown was talking about like maybe needing to hang it up because he was having post-concussion syndrome, like symptoms like out in regular life. I don't like that he is still fighting. Brian Barberena is also on the well-done side of cooked, but I trust his chin better than Matt Brown's at this point.
Casey.
Bam Bam. Early second round knockout. It's going to be 6 minutes of chaos, but then I feel second round Barberena.
I also have a second round KO.
Yeah, I feel first round. I think both men are just incredibly tough still. Clearly past their primes, but incredibly tough. But I think it's going to be just super fun to watch though. But I do think Barberena will finally hurt Matt Brown early in the second.
Yeah, I think I looked at this. I'm going Matt Brown getting a late finish here. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of things that concern me. There's a lot of things that concern me on the Barberena side of things. Like the Darian Weeks performance wasn't all that great. He won, but he lost the first round. And this is a guy who took the fight on like 4 days notice. Losing to Jason Witt, that's a stinger on the resume. Jason Witt's, respect that man's career 100%, but that's a tough loss to have. He beat Anthony Ivy, who was also a guy making a debut on less than a week's notice. I just think Matt Brown's going to get that hometown crowd behind him. Things are going to get tough, and I think Matt Brown will get that second win from his home crowd and come through victorious with a great finish and probably a $50,000 bonus. Joanne Wood, Alexa Grasso, co-main event, Jed Meshew.
Taking Alexa Grasso by first round KO. I talked about some on the pre-fight show yesterday. Grasso's going to win. It's a question to me of how, and I know she's not a big finisher, but she has been getting progressively better at sitting down on her punches over the last couple of fights, putting more power into it. And I have a strong suspicion that Joanne Wood is on the well done side of cooked. She's 36. Talia Santos dropped her with not the best shot in the world in her last fight. And I just kind of think an overhand from Grasso is going to put wood on her butt, and then Grasso is going to follow up and get her first finish in the UFC.
Casey.
Grasso 30-26. It's just going to be one-way traffic.
I actually think this fight's going to be a lot closer than a lot of people think it's going to be. I think Joanne Wood's going to come out and make things real ugly for Alexa Grasso, but I think she can only do that for so long before Grasso starts to get loose and keep her distance and stay on her feet. But again, this is what I talked about on the preview show. Is Joanne Wood going in there to be Joanne Wood, or is she going in there to get a win? She goes in there and is going to be a boring fighter and just land takedowns and stay on top for 15 minutes. She's got a chance to win this fight. Joanne Wood's not really that kind of fighter. So I think she's going to go in there and make things ugly. They're going to stand there and brawl quite a bit. And I think Alexa Grasso's technique will earn her a 29-28 decision. But I think it's going to be a closer fight than people think.
I don't think Wood should grapple with Grasso. I think Grasso is actually a very underrated grappler. But we'll see.
Yeah, Joanne's good on top though. Like she's got good top position. She's heavy up there. She doesn't do a ton with it, but she can hold position pretty well. But that's probably her best path to actually winning this fight. Main event: Curtis Blaydes -510 favorite, +375 on the Daukaus side. Yeah, can Chris Daukaus get it done? Casey Leiden.
I'm gonna be. This is a very boring prediction. Curtis Blaydes decision.
Jed
wins 4 rounds to 1.
I just can't believe in Curtis Blaydes as a decision because it's 5 rounds. This was 3 rounds for sure.
Yeah,
I think the extra rounds are going to give Curtis enough time to really wear Daukaus down. So I'm taking Curtis by 4th round TKO.
I think Daukaus is going to be competitive for a while. Like I said, I think his ground game's a little overlooked, but I mean, Curtis Blaydes is just a different level wrestler, different level top control guy. And I think Daukaus is going to be able to stay out of harm's way for about 13 minutes. And then Blaydes is going to land a big shot while he's on top of him. And then the second one's coming, then the third, then the big elbows come, and then it's going to be a wrap. So Curtis Blaydes, 3rd round TKO, and he will stay exactly where he is. And that's probably what we will lead off the post-fight show with. Curtis Blaydes gets a nice win, a nice highlight reel, but does nothing for him in his chance to become a UFC heavyweight champion, except just keep him in the place that he's at. So, all right, we're about to get started here. We got Luis Saldana in the cage taking on Lyoto Machida prodigy Bruno Souza. So let's have some fun, everybody. Fight's underway. We will see you on the tail end. Were you doing a Twitter Spaces, Jed? You're off, so probably not, right?
I'm going to say no because I'm off, so I am probably going to start enjoying my evening.
Okay. Well, I mean, I'll probably jump on for a little while.
You can absolutely
see you
do
then.
one. I'm going to pass today.
I'll jump on and do a little something. But probably not for the full hour. I'll probably go for the 30 minutes. So just stay on the MMA Fighting Twitter page. We'll let you know when that's happening. Probably around 6:30.
I'm just not that interested in doing McCann Carlos, if we're being honest. It's one of the fights I'm the least interested in on this whole card.
I still believe in
fights underway.
man. She can do it. She can.
Yes.
It was the early stoppage against Ronda. It was the early stoppage.
My bank account is not happy with how much I believed in Sarah.
Oh, okay, I got you. But her arms.
I believed for so long, and it never worked out for me.
Drink your sorrows. Drink your sorrows away. Thank you. Good night.
Love you guys.
30-24. 30-24.
Yeah.
30-24.